Good morning, I'm Maiki Oreta, and you're watching Basis Points, where we dive deep into the numbers and the stories that drive our economy and shape our world. We begin in the United States, where artificial intelligence chipmaker Nvidia failed to meet Wall Street's lofty expectations. While the AI juggernaut actually reported better than expected revenue and earnings, growth slowed, fanning concerns that its explosive growth may be losing steam. The results failed to impress even the most bullish investors, who had driven a dizzying rally in its shares as they bet billions on the future of generative AI. Nvidia, the poster child of the AI boom, sees its second quarter revenue more than doubling to $30 billion from a year ago, while its net income comes in at $16.6 billion, more than double year on year. Nvidia also projects third quarter revenue to reach $32.5 billion, surpassing Wall Street's estimates.
This is a knee-jerk reaction. I think the stock 24 hours from now is actually probably higher. I mean, the robust numbers in terms of the AI revolution, there's some nitpicking going on in terms of these drop the mic numbers, but I would not really read into that. These were just unreal numbers.
Still in the U.S., Berkshire Hathaway achieves a rare feat. The market value of the conglomerate Warren Buffett built for nearly 6 decades tops the $1 trillion mark. With this, Berkshire Hathaway becomes the first American company outside the tech sector to achieve such a milestone. The company crossed the coveted $1 trillion threshold just 2 days before Buffett turns 94 years old. Berkshire Hathaway's stock has risen around 30% this year, outpacing the wider S&P 500, which is up by 18%. Now, this as the conglomerate unloads more shares in Bank of America, reaping $982 million in the process. Berkshire Hathaway has raised roughly $5.4 billion since mid-July from selling shares in Bank of America, the second biggest bank in the United States. Elsewhere in the region, Walt Disney scores a big win in India. The nation's competition Commission approved the 8.5 billion merger of conglomerate Reliance Industries and Disney's Indian media assets. The approval, however, is still subject to certain voluntary modifications. Reliance and Disney have reportedly offered some concessions to secure regulatory approval, as the merger sparks concerns over the control for broadcasting rights of cricket, India's national sport. With this merger, they aim to create the biggest entertainment company in India. Switzerland's federal criminal court convicts 2 executives of a Saudi oil company for their roles in a scam to defraud Malaysia's State Investment Fund, or 1MDB. PetroSaudi's executive Tarek Obaid, a Saudi-Swiss dual national, receives a 7-year sentence, while British-Swiss associate Patrick Mahoney was handed a 6-year sentence. The court also ordered the 2 officials to pay more than $1.75 billion plus interest to the Malaysian Investment Fund. Prosecutors say that the 2 men, Obaid and Mahoney, orchestrated the fraudulent scheme with fugitive Malaysian financier, a former advisor to former Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak, who is now in prison over his role in this multi-billion-dollar scandal. The verdict marks the latest development in this complex international corruption scandal that was uncovered back in 2015. Here in Asia, Japan's central bank reaffirms its intentions to raise interest rates if inflation moves in line with expectations. Bank of Japan's Deputy Governor Ryozo Himino's comments highlight the central bank's unchanged stance on monetary policy, despite the volatility in the financial markets earlier this month. He adds that the central bank will need to monitor financial markets with utmost vigilance as they remain unstable. The Bank of Japan surprised markets in July by raising interest rates to a 15-year high. This hawkish stance sent the battered yen soaring and Tokyo stocks plunging to their lowest level since 1987. Here at home, the Philippines returns to the global market with its second U.S. dollar benchmark bond sale this year. The multi-tranche offer, rated Baa2 by Moody's, consists of bonds maturing in 2030, 2035, and in 2049. Proceeds from this issuance will support general budgetary needs and fund projects aligned with the country's sustainable finance framework. This marks the Philippines' second foray into the global market after raising $2 billion last May. We're taking a quick break. Please stay with us as we dive deep into the numbers and the narratives that matter most to your bottom line. Welcome back. Over at Wall Street, stocks were caught in cautious trade as investors brace for the release of market darling Nvidia's second quarter results after the closing bell. The tech-heavy Nasdaq lost 1% as Nvidia's 3% decline weighed heavily on tech stocks. The Dow Jones Industrial Average pulled back by 0.4% from its all-time high, while the S&P 500 lost 0.6%. Wall Street has set such a high bar for Nvidia that the AI juggernaut's earnings report can make or break the market's rally, which has been anchored on optimism over the growth prospects of this AI technology.
The market is down because it's had a dramatic rally off of the August lows, and people are just reassessing the level of the PE in the market. That we're at 21 times. And the potential for a slowdown in the economy for the rest of the year. We have payrolls coming up next Tuesday or Wednesday. So I think there are sort of risk out there that people are trying to adjust to.
Trading at the Philippine Stock Exchange opened a few minutes ago. Let's take a look at those initial figures. Right now, trading at the PSCI, we're seeing a mixed picture. Trading is mixed and light. PSE index is down by 0.1% to 69.49. Broader all shares index is in the green, up by 0.1%, rather 0.2%. Financials sector is down by 0.3%. Industrial counters is up by 0.3%. Holding firms unchanged. Services counter up by down by 0.3% right now. Mining and oil counter up by 0.4%, and the property counter down by 0.3%. So it's a mixed picture over at the stock market. Now, today we are shining the spotlight on the woman behind the growth of the biggest Filipino-inspired retail hub in the country. One of the women, she is with us now, and her name is Sheila Tan. She is the Senior Assistant Vice President of Operations for SM Kultura. Sheila, good morning, and thanks for being here with us.
Good morning.
Okay, so Sheila, every mall has a Filipiniana section, but SM took it to a whole new level with Kultura. Can you talk to us about how this nationalistic business came to be?
Well, we started with a very small corner in the SM department stores, right? Kultura now is 20 years old, right? We celebrated our 20th anniversary this year. And we started with a very small section of the SM department store, and then now we are expanding at the same time with the SM department store. We are now have our own standalone stores within the mall itself, and we have stores in different locations like Mactan International Airport and some other hotels. And total, we are now currently have 48 stores total, both in SM Dep stores and at the same time our standalone stores.
Okay, the brand itself is 20 years old. You've been with the company as the head of operations for 10 years, about half that time.
Yes.
Can you tell us what insights you've gained having been at the helm of operations for the past decade?
Well, there is a big thrust right now for buying local, loving local, right? So Kultura is really serve as a platform for all our small, medium enterprise entrepreneurs, especially like producing world-class Philippine craft products. And at the same time, we provide that platform for them to be able to reach a wider range of market, not only locally, but at the same time, globally, right? We have a lot of tourists and balikbayans. It's like a one-stop shop for everyone. So from souvenirs to Filipinianas to barongs and all the other local weaves. So we have all those in our stores. So we try to really cater to everybody's needs and at the same time what they want.
I love how you've brought the Filipino culture to a wider audience, and you're also working a lot with SMEs. You're enabling them to reach a wider market.
Yes.
What are the challenges? What are the opportunities and challenges in this space and working with SMEs? How are these SMEs even able to commit and deliver the volume that comes with aligning with the SM brand?
Well, yeah, that is the biggest challenge, right? Especially for small SMEs. So we really have to start hand-holding them, really, by doing a lot of product development, like given that we also have experience in terms of what really is the consumer wants and needs in the market. So we start with that, and at the same time, we have a rigorous process in terms of really choosing a partner in terms of like, we don't just do suppliers, it's really our partner. It's a partnership between Kultura and our suppliers,
Yeah,
right?
lots of suppliers, lots of collaborations.
Yes, there is a lot of collaboration that's happening. And at the same time, we try to also, like we start with them, like if we start small, right? And then at the same time, make those products mainstream. So we have some suppliers that started out in 1 stores, and now they are in all our 48 stores. So, you know, it's a growth for them, and it's a growth also in partnership with Kultura. So it's a win-win situation.
Okay, you guys have a total of 48 stores, about 10 to 11 standalone, the rest in department stores.
Yes.
What do you think are the factors that contributed to this expansion?
Well, I guess, you know, we constantly innovate, right? That's one thing that I think in a retail space, you need to constantly innovate what you offer to the market, not just for the products, but at the same time, the experience. So, you know, as you can see, we are continuously evolving even in how we present our stores and how the visual display of our store. It's becoming a very immersive shopping experience that we offer, because now people are very tactile. They want to touch the product, they want to know the story behind how it was made. So that's one thing. So we not only we innovate in terms of the product, you know, in terms of product development in the products that we offer, but at the same time, the shopping experience. It's very critical for us. So we have like personal shoppers to ensure that, you know, it's a smoother and a very enjoyable experience when they shop. And also we try to make sure that we cater to all, like from different segment of the market, not just a niche market. So we try to make sure that the Filipino products or Philippine products would be able to be sort of like really be more accessible to all.
What's interesting is that how you've expanded in a way that none of the other brands have. I mean, we always had a Filipiniana section in a department store, but it was always very small. How did you spot the potential to make it bigger? I mean, it's got standalone stores now. How did you guys spot the potential to expand on this initiative for locally made stuff?
Well, really, the thrust really of how Kultura started was really how to showcase the Philippine culture through the craftsmanship, right? Through the different artisans. And we stayed true with that. It's just that we also have to, we balance it out in terms of what the market needs and wants at the same time. And really, it's really this, we go back to the thrust, really helping out the small medium enterprise in terms of making their product be more accessible to all and giving them the sustainable livelihood, really. So that's one thrust that we really focus on.
In the decade that you've been at the helm of operations for this brand, how have you seen consumer preferences change? Because we've noticed in the past couple of years, there's been a really, the demand for made in the Philippines has become so buoyant.
You know, that's one thing that I'm very, in terms of very excited, because now there is really a big thrust to love local, right? As you can see, there's a lot of new up-and-coming local designers that are really making a name for themselves, right? And for Kultura, it's really more of like giving that platform for them to showcase their products and making sure that they were able to reach the global or a very wide range market, right? Because given that we have 48 stores, we have that platform for them. And to make it also economically viable for them and sustainability in terms of doing business.
That balance is crucial
Yes.
to make it economically viable and sustainable. While the demand for made in the Philippines has increased, there's been a lot of hesitation in terms of pricing because, you know, there are a lot of pop-ups, there are a lot of bazaars and entrepreneurial fairs that focus on purely Filipino. But I guess the complaint from consumers is that I love it, but it costs so much. How can, you know, why are these local things so expensive?
Well, you know, I mean, for Kultura, we have a different product ranges, right? From, you know, there are some that are really, really quite pricey or a little bit more expensive. But in Kultura, we try to balance things out. We work closely with our suppliers at the same time to ensure
Actually,
that
in Kultura, your prices are relatively reasonable relative to other pop-ups out there in the metro, where the prices for a single outfit can be like upward almost 20,000 or even more.
Yeah. So
you guys are the, you know,
we
you're
find the middle ground.
Yeah,
you
you're
know?
the middle
we
ground.
have to find that middle ground to also make it sustainable for our suppliers and at the same time sustainable for the brand itself, right? So we need to be thinking about that because at the end of the day, you know, we need to sustain also the economic viability of our partners.
Okay. Speaking of economic viability, you have plans to expand or have pop-ups overseas. Can you talk to us about that?
So we are still going to continuously expand locally, right, to different regions where we see there is a need for, you know, for the brand itself. But there is also a big thrust right now to really start expanding internationally, right? By doing a little bit of pop-ups or by partnering with other...
Starting small first.
Yeah. From different organizations, government organizations, to make sure to bring the brand abroad. But at the same time, we're starting small.
Yeah.
We are not going to do a
no
big...
standalones, just pop-ups,
Yeah.
like trade shows.
Yeah, trade shows and a little bit of pop-ups.
That's nice because it helps in the country's efforts to bring in tourism and to increase interest for the country as a whole.
Yes.
What more can we do? What more can we do to take our Filipino culture and heritage and share it with the rest of the world?
I guess, you know, for Kultura, it's really expanding our footprint to make sure that all these artisans and at the same time our partners will be able to really grow with us and at the same time really expand their market base also. Expand our market base and they expand their market base. So really, that is one thing that we have to consider is really not just making it here locally, but at the same time globally, because our products are so beautiful.
Yeah,
we have such beautiful products, and you know, sometimes it's, you know, it's a little bit, sometimes we could see a lot of these products don't get enough attention.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the platform that you give them. Just another question. What are the top product categories in Kultura, the best-selling SKUs?
So, well, you know, we have different product lines, right? So we have the Filipiniana and the Barongs, right? That's one thing. And then we also have a lot of the souvenir stuff. So, I mean, it's a one-stop shop. So we cater from our delicacies. The delicacies is also one thing. And for souvenirs, home products like the weaves, the different traditional weaves that we have. And also at the same time, we have this section in our store, it's called for Crafts for a Cause. So we partner for different foundations and ensuring that, you know, we help in terms of sustain also the livelihood of these different groups.
Oh, well, thank you for the work that you do. You're giving SMEs the chance to shine in the Philippines and on the world stage with Kultura as the outlet. Thank you, Sheila. All right, and that was Sheila Tan, the Senior Assistant Vice President of Operations for SM Kultura. And before we go, let's check on the business headlines in the major news websites. On Inquirer, the depositor base of digital banks nearly triples year on year through June, outpacing the growth of the entire domestic banking system. Data from the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas shows that the country's 6 digital banks attracted 8.7 million depositors in the first 6 months of the year. That's significantly higher than their 3.6 million depositor base just a year ago. On Business World, local investment firm Unicapital Group anticipates more initial public offerings in the market as interest rates go down. And on the Philippines, Star insurance firms are to undergo risk assessments to prevent money laundering and other illicit activities. And that's it for Basis Points. I'm Maiki Oreta. Stay tuned tomorrow for more news on the financial markets and more. Keep it here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo news channel, always on top.